the shins today, or Vajrasana. We're going to open up the feet, the calves, the lower legs in general, and learn how to stretch the knees without feeling any pulling or tugging or pain in the joint. So we'll start on the back with a little bit of intense leg stretching, also known as Supta Padangusthasana. However, we're going to do a version without using a strap. We're just going to use our hands and do a little bit more ankle work as well. All right, so coming down nice and slow when you're ready. Make sure you've got space behind you. Come down one disc at a time. Once you're there, walk the feet to you, feet at hips distance apart. Draw the right thigh in. Hands behind the thighs, push the thigh into the hand, lengthen the pubic bone away from you. Then straighten the right knee as much as feels good. If it's very comfortable, the left leg also straightens, otherwise the left knee stays bent. Let's point and flex. And I would start with, say, 5 repetitions, and then slowly, on your own time, increase the number of movements you do, trying to make them even. And then we'll do 5 circles to the right, and 5 circles to the left. And when we elevate the foot and add ankle work, brings a lot of good effort to the ankle, to the shin. Start to work all these muscles that support the knee. And the more you can isolate the movement, try to keep the legs still and only move the ankle and foot, the more opening you'll get in the ankle at the same time. And then flex your foot. Curl your toes, point your foot, and flip your toes. Flex your foot, curl your toes, point your foot, flip your toes. Flexing, curling, pointing, and flipping. One more. Good. Then bend your knee, hands over the shin, draw it to you briefly. Bend the left knee if it is straight, and then bring the right foot back to the ground. Draw the left thigh to you. Hands come behind the thigh, push the thigh into your hand, pubic bone away from you. Left thumb and forefinger dominant. Straighten the left leg. If you need more, right leg straightens. And then begin to point and flex. Doing about 5 repetitions for each exercise. And circles. Slow, controlled rotations, isolating movement to the ankle. And the other way. And then flex, curl, point, and flip. Flex, curl, point, and flip. Flex, curl, point, and flip. One more. Good. And then bend your knee, hands over the shin. Bend the right knee, release the left foot to the floor. Now from here, we'll roll to one side. Push ourselves up. And we'll come onto the hands and knees next. Spread our fingers, index fingers pointing forward, inner upper arm rolling forward, outer upper arm rolling back, getting a good grip on your toes. And then we're going to do a little bit of foot stretching. So stretching the right toes away from you. Start by taking the toes as far away as you can, not letting the hip drop, but lifting that hip up. And then drag the toes closer to you than the heel, open up the heel. And these are really good movements to help get more mobility in the ankle. And then drop the knee. Other side, take the toes away from you as far as you can. Try not to drop your hip, but lift that left hip so your hips are level. You can take the toes as far away as you like, as long as it doesn't irritate your knees. And then toes come closer, open up the heel, the Achilles tendon, and so on. And then releasing. Now take the knees and ankles together, get a good grip on your toes, bring your hips nice and close to your heels, and then staying here for a few breaths. If you've got more, In you, it feels like more is available. Then you can walk the fingertips towards you slowly, either resting completely on the palms or starting to walk the fingertips closer and closer and closer. If this feels quite good, it does not cause any pain in the knee, then you can take your hands to your thighs and sit upright, trying to stack the shoulders directly over the hips here. Think about pressing into all the toes evenly, focusing on your breathing. In this sort of position, we want to be squeezing the knees and thighs together. We want to think about lengthening the spine as well. And you can choose to rest your hands in your lap, or if you want to touch the hands in front of the chest, or touch the hands overhead, add a little shoulder stretch, you certainly could. All right? When you're ready to come out, the hands come down, you walk the hands forward, take the knees a hip's distance apart, and then we'll open up the foot again. Take the toes away from you first, try not to lift the hip, just the thigh. And then take the toes closer to you, open up the heel. Good. And then swapping. Left toes as far away as you can. And then toes closer to you. And releasing. All right. So now the knees and ankles will come together. We're going to do a few stretches for the calves and ankles and so on using bolsters. And if you don't have a bolster, you can use a big rolled up towel or something like that, but something a little more dense like a bolster makes a big difference. Have the knees and ankles as close together as you can. Take your large bolster behind you, grabbing one edge with either set of fingers, and pull that bolster as close to the knees as you can. And then sitting back on that bolster, think about lifting the abdomen, lifting the chest, and so on. Take your thumb and forefinger to touch, squeeze the other three fingers together, straighten them, lift the chest, lift the abdomen, and just closing the eyes here. Concentrate on your breathing, concentrate on any sensation you might be feeling in the legs. If you feel any pain, it's important to come forward and stretch the feet and ankles just the way that we did earlier. And you can certainly stay as long as you like. As your ankles become more open, you'll find you can sit longer and longer without much sensation. But at first, you might feel a lot. So when you're ready to come out, you come forward slowly, remove your bolster, place it to your side, release your hands, take your knees and ankles at hips distance, and tuck your toes under. Take your hips towards your heels. You can either stay here or lift your knees, thinking about taking the hips and thighs back and lengthening the spine. If downward dog is not accessible, you can certainly keep the knees on the floor and open up the feet. The two-pronged approach, as we did earlier. All right, so either that or dog. Taking 5 more breaths, opening up the feet, or in your dog. Trying to stretch those heels towards the floor. If you find they're lifting quite a bit, you can always bend your knees a little, trying to reach those guys down. And then lowering the knees and coming a bit forward. Now, you can choose to either repeat with the large bolster or the large rolled up towel if you like. If you want a little bit more still, then you can take something firmer, something smaller, such as a small bolster, or as I say, a smaller towel, a firmer towel, and so on. And again, behind the back of the knee. Pull it nice and close, sit back onto that height. And you will find this is a little bit more of a calf opener, a little bit more of an ankle opener. The chest lifts, the belly lifts, find the thumb and forefinger touching, the other 3 fingers straight. Close your eyes. And remember, if you feel too much, you can come forward anytime you need to. Concentrate on easy inhales, easy exhales. And you can work on staying longer and longer here. When you're ready to come out, come forward, remove your prop, place the palms, take the knees and ankles hips distance, opening up the right toes, take the toes away from you, and then drag the heel away from you. Drop the knee, take the left toes away from you, and then take the heel away from you. And you can repeat that twice more, or you can bring your hips to your heels, lift your knees, and come into another dog. And you may want to play with straightening one knee and then the other. If it's available, focus on straightening both knees and bringing the heels toward the floor. Think about the flesh of the calf lengthening toward the heels evenly. If you want more, you can lift all your toes here. This will increase the stretch in the ankle significantly. Otherwise, opening up those ankles 2, maybe 3 more times on the hands and knees. And then slowly come down. Knees can either be wider than the hips or completely together. You decide based on your knees. If you go closer together, you'll get more ankle stretch, more hip stretch, and back stretch. Either way, hips come toward the heels. You can extend the arms forward, which will give you, again, more of a stretch in the ankles as well as shoulders. If it's too intense, you simply stack your palms or fists underneath the head with the elbows a bit wide. This will reduce what you feel, as will taking the knees wider. So these are all good options based on how your body feels today. Let's take 10 more breaths in whichever option you have chosen. When you're ready to come out, hands under shoulders, coming up slowly, coming forward onto the hands and knees, getting a good grip on your toes, opening up the feet. Do the toes, then do your heels, doing that on both sides, or one more dog. Lengthening the spine, lifting the abdomen, taking the thighs and hips back. 5 more breaths, either tabletop opening the knees or dog. And then dropping slowly. Lastly, we'll come into our kneeling position. You can sit directly on the heels if you like. The heels are a little bit wider. The big toes are touching here. If it is too intense, you can take a block, separate the knee, or the feet rather, the knees stay together, and then sit back on your height. If it still causes you pain, sitting up on more height as needed, right? Just adding a little bit at a time until you find that appropriate amount for you. Palms facing up, touch the thumb and forefinger, squeeze the others together, lift the chest, and look straight forward. At any point, you can choose to go farther based on your particular day and how your body feels. Every day of practice will be different. If you're looking for even more ankle stretch, you don't need the block. You can even squeeze your heels together if you like to sit back and get one heck of a stretch in those ankles and feet. I personally find it's nice to stay longer and be still with the hands in one position. You can add variety of shoulder stretches or neck stretches while you're seated if you'd like. However, I find if you shut the eyes, find a mudra, and remain quite still, your flexibility will increase much more quickly. When you decide that is enough for this particular day, we come forward, we open up the ankles, the feet once more, opening the toes, the heel, and switching. Opening up the toes, and then the heel. If another dog suits you, you might want to take the knees and ankles together for the last one, bringing the hips to the heels, and then slowly lifting your knees. Again, lifting the toes will increase stretch as well. And then the knees come down. Lift the knees, take the hands behind you, and then come down for Shavasana. Hands come behind thighs, lower the spine, extend the legs, extend the arms, completely relax the entire body. Concentrate on stillness, resisting the urge to fidget and adjust. Slowly beginning to deepen your breathing, wiggling the fingers and the toes, taking a stretch with the arms overhead, and bending the knees, walking the feet toward you. Roll to your right, push yourself up, and come into any seated position you like, on the shins or not. Big inhale.